Okay. Nice to see you all. So many lovely faces. Lovely to see folks here. And also, we extend our welcome to those of you who are practicing with us after on the YouTube recording. Thank you also for joining this community and cultivating kindness and wisdom for yourself and for all beings. We appreciate that you're here with us. I saw recently that um, coming up, it's not quite yet, but January 22nd is the third anniversary of Thich Nhat Hanh's death, and various celebrations are starting to be planned and announcements, etc. So I was inspired to revisit some of Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings. Thich Nhat Hanh, if you most people have heard of him. Uh, and he's was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk in the Mahayana Pure Land tradition. So it's a little bit different than this Vipassana insight tradition that we're practicing here. But Dharma is Dharma. So yeah, enough said about that. It's the roots of the Dharma and the teachings of wisdom and compassion are across all the traditions. And so I wanted to honor this great teacher and great person. He was born in Vietnam in, I didn't write down the year, but he entered the monastery when he was 16, and then the Vietnam War happened. And when he was a monk in Vietnam at that time, there was kind of this mm, uh, two ways of practicing, and one is to continue as a renunciate in and to stay in the monastery and continue practicing in that contemplative life. And he felt really called to do that as well as to really reach out and be very active in caring for the community that was so affected by the war, helping the suffering and the turmoil from that horrible war. Uh, and he coined the term engaged Buddhism from that, and he's written many books. And engaged Buddhism is this contemplative, reflective way of being in the world, but also active, really community and engaged and political, very political he was as well. To the extent that when he was had a few meetings with Reverend Martin Luther King, that and then he was while he was in America and being active in the for peace and anti-racism. And then he was told, not allowed to return to Vietnam, and so he became an exile from his country, and then ended up creating Plum Village in France and many other monasteries in that lineage around the world. But Plum Village is very well known. One of the other things he did, which I hadn't heard about, was he founded the School of Youth and Social Service in Vietnam, a grassroots relief organization of 10,000 volunteers based on the Buddhist principles of nonviolence and compassionate action. Pretty, yeah, a very profound life and very influential teacher. And so the practice I'd like to share is inspired by an article in Tricycle magazine about Thich Nhat Hanh's, some of his teachings that they compiled. Part of it was teachings that he gave when he was visiting in Toronto and another location, and they've kind of put them together. Hmm. And he says in his teaching that's cited in this article that he's talking a lot about peace and how he says we don't need to practice 10 years or 20 years to get peace. If we practice correctly, we can begin to have peace after a few seconds. So that's inspiring. Like, tell me more about that. That's great. Uh, and it does help to practice 10 or 20 years. But it can be definitely true that we can cultivate and touch into these practices to relieve suffering and then to know its opposite, peace or sukha, happiness, um, in in the span of a breath, in the span of a moment. And as we cultivate this peace within our hearts and minds and bodies and energy and nervous systems, we then develop more capacity to look deeply into the nature of things, to really see what is this? What is it really? What's its nature? That all things are impermanent, all things are conditioned, and are not a reliable source for happiness. Uh, in these outer things that we think, if I get that, then I'll be happy. And he teaches a lot about these seeds that we have within us. There's different words or Dharma interpretations of this, but we all have these potentials within us, these seeds that are in ourselves and all around us, in our consciousness. And we got all the seeds. We have seeds of suffering, seeds of anger, seeds of jealousy, even seeds of war, and we also have seeds of peace, seeds of joy, seeds of wisdom and understanding, etc. And it's so what are we going to water? What are we going to cultivate? What are we going to nurture so that it grows? And if we're not, if we don't have a meditation practice, a mindfulness practice, I kind of think of mindfulness like just daily life mindfulness of what am I doing right now? Being mindful in the present moment. And a meditation practice is that intention to stop doing all the other things and to cultivate these qualities that we're going to practice tonight. But as he says, when we don't lead our daily life mindfully, we are then unconsciously watering the seeds that are unconscious. So we may be unintentionally watering, nurturing seeds of anger, seeds of hatred, or even violence. And our culture is watering them. Our culture, the culture, the culture of media, the culture of duality, of judgment, of hierarchies, all the flavors, all the flavors of violence and separation. Water, when we're not being mindful, they're unconsciously nurturing these senses of separateness and otherness and judgment and greed, hatred, and delusion. And so when we're practicing with intention, Intention is a very important part of the path of practice. Our intentions, our values. When we practice in this way, we begin each day maybe with the precepts or maybe checking in with our personal values and mm, what do I want to nurture on this day? Because if we don't do that with intention, habit will take over. Habit will take over. And the dominant culture will take over. Yeah, so these practices I'm going to attempt to share, convey from Thich Nhat Hanh are these ways of nurturing. I'm going to mute while I sneeze. 1 second. Am I? Wait a sec. Not yet. Oh, the suspense. Oh gosh. Um, yeah, that's enough about seeds. You get the idea. Um, Now, I'll preface this because he does offer a lot of practices that are like um, breathing in, I'm aware of my heart. Breathing out, I smile to my heart. Breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I smile to my eyes, and et cetera, to different parts of our body and our being and our minds. And so I wanted to talk about this a little bit about smiling because some of us, which may be largely conditioned by what gendered body you're presumed to be in, can often be told in our lives to smile. Smile, sweetheart, or you're walking by, what? Smile. Uh, and it's so it can be a really triggering thing to be told to smile. And also, when you are in a great deal of grief and pain and anguish at any time in your life, um, being offered the invitation to smile, just is might feel impossible. And what he means by this phrasing of to smile to these different aspects of ourselves is metta, loving kindness, is just to turn some kind attention, some benevolence, some friendliness, befriending. If you try to befriend a dog or a person or any sentient being with anger on your face or fear or whatever sort of version of anguish, um, it just doesn't have that welcoming energy. And so when he's offering these phrases of smiling to, you don't have to actually smile. That might happen naturally, but it's this feeling, felt experience of just turning some kind attention towards these areas. So just wanted to offer that for folks that might feel, don't tell me to smile. That might happen. Uh, he says this practice is to try and touch, to be aware of, and to let awareness touch the aspects within ourselves and outside of ourselves that are they're not wrong. Nothing's wrong. There's nothing wrong with us but we just want to turn attention towards. Um, and with this, we can bring healing to ourselves and to the world. Yeah. So I'll just review these briefly, and then I'm going to guide them as we go through them together. He offers these could be 5 separate practices. You could just do one of them or adapt it to your own needs at the time. Uh, the first one is just is from the suttas, it's from the teachings of the Buddha. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. And this is the beginning of the, never mind. I don't need to go there. It's just a ground of the Dharma, of the foundations of mindfulness is mindfulness of body, and in this case, the body as it breathes. And he's offering this breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out, as is really applicable in a moment practice to be aware of the absolute integration of body and mind. Of course, they already are, inter are. But often in our daily lives, we can feel this kind of separation, like we can feel like we're a talking head and just all this energy in our head and doing and getting and wanting and thinking and planning and just feel like this head moving around with all these fullness and like a hive of bees. And yeah, we were, when I was a yoga teacher, there's many people that can't feel their body. They don't, if you say, how's that feel? Like, what do you mean? What is, there can be a very powerful disconnect for boundless variety of reasons. And mm, and the mind is often lost in the past or the future, often planning or into future or going over things that have happened in the past and reinventing them and um, punishing ourselves incessantly or others. And the body is always in the present moment. The body is always in the present moment. So when you say breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Now awareness is with the breath, with the body in the present moment. So, a helpful tool. And it's one that you can do anytime. Just pop it through your day. Um, I love that he says here, um, breathing in and breathing out in a mindful way may be a very revolutionary act. We are possessed by the past, by the future, by society. We are victims of our televisions, our cars, our worries, our anger, our forgetfulness. We hardly have any liberty left in order to be ourselves, to live our lives. Breathing in and out mindfully is an act of resistance. We free ourselves and reclaim our sovereignty as human beings. Wow, that's cool. That's so great. Can you imagine what a gift that is for yourself and for the world? And to feel like this is actually revolutionary. This is counterculture. This is reclaiming presence and embodiment. And um, it could be enough to shift the ground beneath our feet if more and more of us practice this way. We could just do that tonight, but we're going to have a little flavor of each of these. The second one he offers is breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. So what this one means is that you don't need to, we're not visualizing, we're not tripping out on flowers here. What it means is that I don't have any flowers, but if you look at a flower, when you see with insight, it's already compost. When we look at the cup, we see it's already cracked. When we look at ourselves, we see the skeleton. So when you see a flower, you see it's already every day, every moment, changing and decaying and aging if it's been cut, certainly, and otherwise. And, and then it becomes compost. And then with insight, you could see that within the compost is another flower. There's a seed, which is also going to grow and become flower at some point. Um, and so it's this it's a teaching on non-duality, that within the compost is the flower, within the flower is the compost. And what does that mean to see, as he says, I see myself as a flower? This non-duality of I see myself as someone who experiences suffering and someone who experiences peace. I know myself as someone, that has all these dualities in this non-duality, right? All these things that seem like opposites are not. It's all arising and passing, and you can't have one without knowing the other. Um, so, hmm, so every time we feel irritated or tired, it can be helpful to water to nourish, nurture the opposite, peace or energy or feeling refreshed. Like he says, he uses the word breathing out, I feel fresh. I changed it to refreshed. I feel refreshed. I feel renewed. I feel energized. I feel clear. These qualities. Um, and he says, now because you are fresh and joyful, we have hope. And we are serving humanity. You are serving the whole cosmos. Sweet. Nothing wrong with that. The third one is breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. This is a beautiful teaching of stability and equanimity. A mountain is often referred to in the teachings of equanimity. Um, as this wide, stable, grounded, solid base, mm, with this ability to see from the mountain peak, this big picture, to be able to see the big picture and to see the storms coming and going and feel this sense of stability. He also uses the image here of a tree in a storm. If you picture a tall tree in a storm, and we look at the top of the tree being totally battered about by the storm and thrashed around in the winds, and then you look at the base of the tree, and it is stable and steady and solid. And so breathing in, seeing ourselves as a mountain, breathing out, I feel solid. And so we let the attention in this practice, in this part of the practice, settle to the area below the belly button and down to feel the contact with the ground. Because as I mentioned before, when we have all this head energy, um, all of our emotions and thinking that feel like the top of that tree spinning around in the wind, being pushed this way and that. And a lot of emotions are could feel like this. And we let our attention settle right down, belly button and lower into this wide, stable base. And feel that rise and fall of the breath in the belly. And this can be a helpful one when we're in the storms of daily life, um, when these strong emotions take over, and breathing in and breathing out with this part of the practice, we might find that we're stronger than we thought. We have access to more stability than maybe we thought we had when we're feeling really pushed and pulled. We are more than our emotions. The fourth one, love this. As I'm describing these, I'm thinking, dang, it could have been a 5-week series. Like each one of these would be lovely just to do for the whole flying. But here we are. Um, the fourth one is breathing in, I see myself as still water, and breathing out, I reflect things as they are. It's like sometimes a bowl of still water would be used as a mirror to reflect clearly, or you can think of a very still pond that reflects all the mountains and the storms and the clouds and the birds flying by and the trees surrounding are reflected perfectly in that still pond. And this this is an image of this practice, shamatha vipassana. Shamatha means calm, to cultivate calm and stability, which brings clarity, and vipassana, insight, to see clearly into the nature of things, how things are, with penetrating wisdom. And these are cultivated, these are calm and insight co-arise and help each aspect deepen in relationship. Yeah. And the last one, breathing in, I see myself as space, and breathing out, I feel free. Love that. So, spacious meditation, spaciousness, or sometimes called emptiness, is a wonderful aspect of practice. And as he shares here, he says, inside of us, many of us lack space as well. We may have so many things we are collecting, in our home, or we may have like a lot of physical objects and things that feel energetically cluttered in our home and our energy and our minds. And he says we may have so many projects we want to do, so many worries, so much anger, so much self-judgment that we deprive ourselves of space inside. So he talks about internally and externally, and the how renunciation can help us cultivate calm and ease when we have less things, and also internally, how much are we holding on to, and that takes away from that feeling of spaciousness. He says, so look deeply. Well, he, yeah, how many things you think are indispensable for your happiness. See your projects, ambitions, worries, and anger, and try to release them one by one. Fun! Let's do it! I'm so excited. Let's practice. Okay. Water. Okay. So adjust your space, your lighting, your comfort. And I'll let people know we might go a little bit longer than 8:30. So if you need to log out at 8:30, please try to monitor that for yourself. I might go like 5 minutes longer. 8:30, 8 o'clock. It used to go to 8:30. Thank you for those of you that were shouting at me. Yes, 8 o'clock. That's what I meant. All right. So as you settle into your posture of uprightness, even if you're practicing reclining, this sense of inner uprightness, your values, your ethics, your wise intentions to cultivate kindness and wisdom, allow that to give you some inner energy. And as you settle into your seat, allow the muscles to soften in any of your habit tension areas, any places where you know that you tend to hold your worries and plans and fears. Letting the face relax and the shoulders drop. Hands let go. Belly softens. A light awareness of this knowing that we all have seeds within us. And what seeds have been unconsciously watered today by what we've been affected by today, people around us, or news, or other inputs, and what's been watered unconsciously. And the awareness setting our intention that for these practice we are cultivating seeds of care, seeds of joy, of peace, of understanding. And we want these seeds to grow and flourish, to spread, and eventually to blow in the winds and spread out into the world. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. When breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. If you find the words helpful to repeat, you can, but they're a bit long to pair with the breath and it can become cumbersome. So you can just do the felt experience of breathing in and know that you're breathing in. And when breathing out, know that you're breathing out. And how do we know this? We know it because there's a direct present moment felt experience. Mind slips into its conditioned habit to slide into past and future. When that's known, we just begin again, integrating mind and body, breathing in, know I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. To feel this as a revolutionary act, an act of resistance to reclaim our integrity, our present moment awake awareness, breath by breath. If you feel a lot of sleepiness or restlessness in the mind, you could just use the word in as you breathe in and out as you breathe out, and let that word be very light, like 5% or 1% of awareness. And 99% of the awareness is on the felt experience, breath by breath. Breathing in, I feel myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel refreshed. Seeing that even though there may be irritation or fatigue or suffering, there is also peace possible here. Within the compost, there is the flower. Breathing in, I feel myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel refreshed. Seeing that breath by breath, we have the capacity to begin again, to feel kindness and clarity and energy. And now we're aware of our breath arising and passing, and we're have cultivated and nurtured this sense of energy, of flowering. And now breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Let awareness settle down to the area of the belly. Become aware of the rise and fall of the abdomen. With your wide and stable, grounded base. As the storms of life arise and pass. Breathing in, I feel myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid or stable. I'm stronger than I thought. I'm more than my emotions. And then we have this awareness of breath arising and passing, breath by breath, embodied present moment. This energy of flower, uprightness, brightness, refreshing energy, and the stability of the mountain. And now breathing in, I see myself as still water, calm, still water. And breathing out, I reflect things exactly as they are. I see all things arising and passing. All things arising and passing from infinite variables beyond my control. Clearly reflected in this calm, still water of awareness. So present breath by breath, this bright, fresh flower of brightness and wide, stable mountain sensation. Clear, calm mind reflecting the storms arising and passing, the thoughts reflected just like clouds passing through, nothing held on to. And in that clear, calm water, like a pond, can see the whole of the sky reflected. And so we can gently turn awareness towards that spacious, boundless sky. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. If that feels too big, just feel the space in the room you're in, space around your body. Let awareness float into that space. Still feeling each breath, still embodied, grounded, refreshed, clear, calm, spacious. Mm. Thank you to Thich Nhat Hanh and his commitment to freedom for all beings everywhere and his compassionate action and engaged Buddhism and respect. Revolution.